She definitely could. I wound up tossing her. First of all, you can definitely toss her last race on November 12th. If you go back to her race back in the summer, the previous time she ran, she ran just an ungodly-looking E-speed figure at Retama that would engulf this field and might even beat Tempting Fortune, but I don't know. I'm going to have to see one from her. But I'm with you on Tempting Fortune. This is the exact kind of horse that I've tried to beat for 2 or 3 weeks here, and our win percentage of favorites is up around 43.5% now because you just can't beat these favorites right now. Now, that being said, we have seen some favorites. That Jessup Beast got beaten a couple of weeks ago when he looked like an international cinch. So this horse, drawn inside, big fig edge, good gate speed, shortening up, those types of profiles from a good barn indicate all systems go of late here. So I like him over Pepsi Gray as well, who showed really good gate speed last time going a little longer. I took Lip Band Cartel third, picks up one of the leading riders, and is sired by Bogart. Bogart wasn't, he was no tempting dash on the racetrack, but Bogart's runners have really been firing hard here early in the meet. We're not early in the meet now, but to this point in the meet. Second race, scratch, number 5, DM Dreaming Big. We do have a number of significant scratches we'll pass along as we go. Second race, maiden special weight, but these are fillies and mares, 3 and up at 300.
Yeah, give me I'm Sita, the rail horse here. This 3-year-old filly, last time out, she was in a maiden race right here on our track. Ran a good second in that one, missing by a neck. That was at the 250-yard distance. So you're going to have to add 50 yards on tonight. The horse has gone 300 3 different times in her career, has failed to hit the board in any of them. But I think this is probably the best spot that this horse has been in quite a little bit. I mean, this horse was in the TQHA Sire Derby 3 starts back. Ended up running toward the back of the field, but this horse could be quick enough to win this race tonight. Number 8, Just Tempting Heart, is going to be my second selection here. Out of the 4 starts for this horse, 2 of them were good, 2 of them were poor, but in those 2 not very good starts, Just Tempting Heart had some significant trouble in those. When this horse is able to break out of that gate sharp, like you see last time out in the very first race of her career, she's able to get across that finish line toward the front. I think Just Tempting Heart can have a good shot here tonight. And then number 9, Deal a Fast Game. This is going to be my third choice. 15-1 morning line on this 3-year-old filly. What I like about this one is earlier in the year at Sam Houston, this horse was right there hitting the board in almost every race. 4 out of 6 this year. On the board. We'll see if Deal a Fast Game can't get up there in the top 3 once again tonight.
I'm on I'm Sita as well. It looks like a pretty formful early daily double. Like a lot of these in here, she's been facing both genders today, just faces fillies. That was a pretty good try last time out at 13-10 odds on Thanksgiving weekend here. Came up just a neck short. Oddly enough, the winner of that race, First Ivory Rose, was also the same exact odds, 13-10 or 6-5. And so, it was clearly viewed as a 2-filly race or a 2-horse race, and they ran like that. That was a good effort. I got to like her back, even though she has had a lot of chances. But they tend to have been against better, I think, than tonight. I went with Special Eagle V, who had a substantial bump last time, bump knocked sideways, ran up the track, went 4-1. 2 outs ago, ran a halfway decent fourth behind a male rivals in Czech Colton's wagon. So Special Eagle V looks like she's in a softer landing spot. And then I took Dashing Coronado in from Will Rogers. And what's interesting about Just Tempting Heart, who's your third pick and my fourth pick, or your second pick and my fourth pick, you mentioned she's been up and down. In the 2 races where she broke on top, she just missed. In the 2 races that she had trouble, she was never in front of a runner at any point, 10th at every call, which is weird. It's feast or famine.
Yes.
On to the third. Distaffers tend to dominate this one, although it is not limited to fillies and mares. It's a 300-yard contest, $5,000 claiming, non-winners of 2.
Yeah, so give me the horse on the outside, Back Pocket Cash. That's the number 9 here in this spot. Was a winner last time out, broke that maiden. He's going to have to face winners here for the first time, but Back Pocket Cash, if you look through that body of work, I mean, this horse has hit the board in 4 out of 5 starts this year. The only one that the horse missed was 2 back. That was at Rotama Park, and it was just a 4th-place finish, so not too bad there. I think Back Pocket Cash can get the win for Toby Keaton tonight. The number 1 horse is going to be my second selection, Severin.
Yeah, I've been saying Severine. I don't know if that's correct.
That sounds French. That's fancy. This is going to be my second choice here. 5th last time out, was in for the 12-5 tag, so taking quite a sharp drop here tonight, but was only beaten by a length in that one. Oscar Andrade gets the mount tonight. I think that Severine can have a good shot. And then number 3, Voodoo Cartel is going to be my third pick here. This horse did have a second-place finish back at Rotama Park this year, missed by a head. The race before that was in for 10,000, just missed by half a length there. Last 2 races, I think this horse has been in for a tag that is over his head, in for 5,000 tonight. This horse could have a good run, and we'll see if he can't get up and hit the board.
Yeah, he's a guy that hits pretty hard at this level and has the best bankroll of anybody in the field by a long way. Of course, he's been to the post 37 times in a rather lengthy career. Just one of those was a win, but he's picked up a few checks. I've got him as a third pick here. Back Pocket Cash has a recent work, had a nice maiden-breaking performance the second week of the year. That was a really good, strong finishing kick for that horse that night. Not sure where she's been since, but has had a little time off and now has a work to get back. So I think we're going inside to outside in our picks here after taking the rail the first couple races. We're going to the outside here. And then my second pick is Corona Moonin, drawn toward the inside, like a lot of these, is 1 for a whole bunch of races. She's 1 for 15, or he's 1 for 15. Had to pick somebody second. So I noticed he had El Tartanero Jess, and he's no illusion, and some decent races mixed into some maiden claiming tries. He's been up and down the claiming ladder, you might say. 4th race, couple of key scratches here. The 1, Dynamite's Luck, is scratched, and the 10, Action Milagro, who was Rick Lee in the program, his long shot play of the day. So the 1 and the 10 are out. 4th tonight begins the pick 6, 350 yards for maidens.
Yes, I'm going to go with this long shot here in race number 4. That's number 8, Men's Pool. Picked this horse last time out. Ran third on me, only beaten by 3/4 of a length. The horse, she flashed some speed coming out of that gate. That was at a 400-yard race. Cutting back to 350, I think, is going to help Men's Pool out, and I wouldn't mind seeing this horse cross the wire at some pretty decent odds. Number 3, Chewy's Attorney, is my second choice. This horse was a second-place finisher last time out. That was a race similar to this, maiden claiming for $7,500. A little bit shorter, though. That was at 250, so going to have to go 350. Horse has gone this distance a couple times, has failed to hit the board in either one of those. But both of those were in trial races. Futurities last year, Derby trials this year. I think Chewy's Attorney can have a good shot here in the 4th. And then number 9, Sea of a Heartbreak, is going to be my third choice. A lot of races for this one, 0 for 8. But does have a second-place finish. That one was the most recent race. Came out here on our track. I like horses that move well out here, but that was the only time out of 5 starts this horse has hit the board here at Lone Star Park. So I'd like to put the horse a little bit higher than third, but that's what he gets here in race number 4 for me tonight.
I used him on top. In fact, I had him on top when Dynamite's Luck and Action Milagro were in the race. I didn't care really that much for either of them, but I was going to try to go a little different here and take Sea of a Heartbreak. The thing that worries me about him is he had what looked like an insurmountable lead coming inside the 70-yard pole last time out, and Annie Get Your Gun, who I think is in the races a little later today, got up and beat him. Now, I think I picked Annie Get Your Gun later today, but nonetheless, this horse showed really good gate speed going 90 yards farther, is going to need that shorter distance today. Unfortunately, he's had shorter distances before and not won, but I think his speed and his coming off a decent effort last month, I'm going to take him on top over Chewy's Attorney, who did drop down to the bottom level, or the 7,500 level at least, and ran well last time. And then Men's Pool is my third pick as well. So, and those, oddly enough, were my picks even before these 2 rather significant scratches. 5th race starts the pick 5. scratched the 7 Master Reigns out of this one. It was going to be a lot of people's picks. I was going to try to beat Master Reigns anyway with What a Wagon, but this is a 440-yard race for non-winners of 2.
Yeah, so I'm on the 2, Famous for My Kisses. A winner last time out, did it by half a length. That was at 550, so the horse can go long. Race before that was at 400. Was in front most of the way down the racetrack. Ended up beaten by a head in that one. So, I mean, the horse has been able to go longer than 440, shorter than 440. I think Famous for My Kisses, going pretty much right in the middle, picks up the win here in race number 5. Number 6, GK Imprimatur, is going to be my second choice here. This horse won 3 starts back. That was at Will Rogers at 400 yards. Last time out, tried 550 up there in Oklahoma as well. A solid third in that race. It's going to be the first time for this horse to race out here at Lone Star, so we'll see what happens with the 6, but I got him picked second. And then the 5, another one shipping in from Oklahoma, is going to be my third choice. That is Know How. Last 2 races for this horse were pretty good as well. One at 350. That was a winner 2 starts back in a $10,000 maiden claiming race. Faced winners last time out for the $10,000 tag. Ran a solid second up there in Oklahoma, beaten by a head. I think this is one to watch here. And if you can get, I would say odds of 5-1 or better on Know How, might be a pretty good value play here in race number 5.
It's going to be interesting to see how the odds shake out since the 2-1 shot is scratched. I would think GK Imprimatur is going to be bet down quite a bit. He was 27-1 last time. You know how I feel about horses that are big long shots one day. Granted, this horse is dropping, but then all of a sudden the next time they're 5-2. It's like, I don't know. It seems like not good value. But I went with What a Wagon in here. Hilario Hernandez, the trainer, 0 for 8 this meet, but he does have 5 times in the trifecta, and he can win races. And this horse has been bobbling at the start, hasn't had real clean breaks, goes shorter today, and I think he might like the shorter distance, even though he's had a ton of chances. He's 1 for 18 lifetime. These are non-winners of 2. So except for Know How, they pretty much have all had some chances. I'm going to take What a Wagon on the chance to go shorter and face a weaker field than he's been facing. Over Know How, you can't fault his last couple of starts. And GK Imprimatur, last time out that race, then late October at the Will, he just took forever to get leveled off. Once he did, you can see by the PP line, he gained late, but he was just kind of fooling around early in that race and not accomplishing a whole lot, and probably was, best if he had gotten started earlier. On to the 6th. 5th race, by the way, begins the pick 5. 6th race begins the late pick 4. Take out a long shot, number 9, African Ivory. From the 6th race, 2-year-old maiden fillies go 300.
Yeah, so I got number 5, Moon Diamond, as my top choice here. I'm really keying in on that race 2 back. I mean, the horse got out of the gate well, led it most of the way down the racetrack, ended up 3rd in that one, beaten by a length. Now, that was at 400, so dropping 100 yards off, back to 300 tonight. I think it's going to set up well for the 5. Number 4, Serpida R3 is going to be my second choice here. Seems like I picked this horse quite a bit this year. I remember that name.
Every
Serpida
time,
R3, yeah. So.
Well, not maybe on top, but
but in my picks, just like
sure.
tonight, hopefully I'm getting the pronunciation down on this
I usually go with
now.
Sarepta.
Sarepta?
Yeah.
We'll see how
I don't know what
later.
Sarepta is. That a type of dinosaur? Or
I have no
sounds
idea.
like it, but I just say Sarepta.
So whatever the horse's name is, R3, I will take him take him second here in this situation. Had a good second place finish at the first time this horse stepped foot on our track for a race. Missed by a head in that one. Followed that back up with a couple third place finishes. Those last 2 in maiden races like this one tonight. I think this horse could have a good run, maybe graduate tonight. And then I got the 6, Mighty's Dynasty as my third choice here. The first 2 races of this horse's career were at Ruidoso Downs. The most recent one that was out there in New Mexico came at 330 yards. A third-place finish in that one, was beaten by 3 lengths. Last time out, tried one of the futurity trials for the Texas Classic. Ended up getting beat last in that one. I mean, it didn't have it in either one of those. We'll see what this horse has tonight. I can only pick him as high as 3rd here in race number 6.
I use that horse second. He's one of those, Mighty's Dynasty, she's one of those that's hard to read because, great connections, Johnny Trotter, Trey Wood, It was she was a homebred, so you don't have a yearling price to look at to kind of gauge that. But, they didn't put her in trials up on the mountain. They put her right in maiden races, which for a 2-year-old to go straight into maidens, got to think that affects her. Maybe they don't think she can run much. And she, in actuality, didn't run much in those 2 maiden tries. And they put her in the Texas Classic trials, and she's 27-1 and kind of ran like it. So I don't know if this drop down into our maiden ranks is really going to help. But I used her second behind Moon Diamond, who's been going 400 or 440, now shortens up, showed decent speed, comes out of that Chili Red race, which, we've talked a lot about, which, Chili Red ran a really nice race in that trial on October 28th. So, and gets off that sloppy track onto a dry track tonight. So I think, all systems look go for Moon Diamond. And then Mighty's Dynasty was my second pick. I'm curious to see how One Shantastic Eagle, who was overmatched last time out, the Fancy Scarface race, that trial, Fancy Scarface ran well in the Texas Classic Futurity. I think that One Shantastic Eagle comes out of that tough heat and gets back in with maidens. I think she will like that. On to the 7th. No scratches out of this one. Good contention in this, 300 yards. These are non-winners of a race other than, or non-winners of 2. And these are 2-year-old fillies as well.
Yeah, I really like number 5, Painted Sace, here in this spot. I mean, this horse has only had 3 races. So, one at First Asking back at Retama this year at 3:30. Followed that back up with a trial race for the Dash for Cash Futurity. Ran second in that one, finished second behind the fastest qualifier for the Dash for Cash Futurity. Got into the Futurity. I mean, he was one of the 10 fastest that night. Ended up running 10th of 10. But if you look at the comment, awkwardly away. That was a tough race. It's the Dash for Cash Futurity,
sure,
right? So if you don't break well in that one, I mean, that's it. But Painted Sace, I think if you could overlook that Dash for Cash Futurity, this horse looks like a good one here in this spot for Toby Keaton. I've got Painted Sace on top over Queens Are Tempting the 2. This horse was in the Gillespie County Firecracker earlier this year, ran 8th in that. Was in the TQHA Sires Futurity, ran 5th of 9 in that one. But, look at the other races. They were all wins pretty much, except for that trial for the Gillespie County Firecracker. So, this horse definitely could run fast. At least fast enough to qualify for some futurities, kind of like Painted Sace did. But I think this horse, with that body of work, having a nice history of getting up there and hitting the board, winning 3 of 6 races, I think it's a very solid choice. I just like Painted Sace better. And then number 7 on the cool side is going to be my third choice. Horse ran a pretty nice one last time out. That was on a muddy track at 350 yards right out here. But, led it all the way down the track, ended up winning by a neck. I like winners. This is one right here. I can't fault the horse for winning that last race, and I think you should take a look at on the cool side if something were to happen to Painted Sace or Queens Are Tempting here in this spot. I think the 7 could come up and take it.
Yeah, Rick has her as well. This is a really wide-open race considering you got Painted Sace coming out of the Dash for Cash Futurity. I'm trying to beat her. You got Queens Are Tempting, who's coming out of the TQHA Sires Futurity, and she was 2-1 in that race. Wasn't favored, but was 2-1. And you got Ion Panama, who's a recent winner for, I don't know if Carrizales is leading the country right now in earnings, but he was the last time I looked. That was a while back. And she just comes off a dynamite race last month. There's a lot of fillies in this race that could win this. I think AP Fast Price Corona could win. She took on a really nice group last time out in October. And so, it's a really wide open race. I went with Queens Are Tempting, mainly on the strength. She had a fast workout at the end of October. The barn does well with comebackers. Like you mentioned, she, the only races where she really kind of came up weak were those 2 finals that she was in. That one race where she ran second, Spumante came back and ran second in the Gillespie Firecracker Futurity after being the top qualifier, so there was no problem there. I'm going to give a shot to her over Painted Sace. If Painted Sace runs the race she did 2 back, she's gone, and she wins by a length and a half. And, so I'm curious. And I'm curious to see how hard they bet her. If she comes on the track and is like 6-5, you can put a ring around it because that's the way the races have been going lately. Ion Panama is my third pick. I really thought about picking her on top. I had her on top last time out, and she was a nice 4-1 winner for me. Might have been my last 4-1 winner that I've had. Eighth race. Scratch the 11 Playful Dynasty, who was going to be well backed in here. Non-winners of 2 claimers for $7,500.
Yeah, so it looks like we're both ended up on Annie Get Your Gun here. I love this angle. Second start. I love it. I mean, the horse was a winner last time out. Did it by half a length here on our track. Is going to face winners here tonight for the first time, but hopefully it's not a problem for this 3-year-old gelding. Showed a lot of grit last time out in order to make up that deficit to pick up the win. Annie Get Your Gun in his second start, I think, takes the 8th. Number 4, Jesse Pegaso is going to be my second choice. Was a winner last time out as well. Led it from gate to wire at this 400-yard distance right here on this track. I think it's one to watch. And then number 3, Win the Prize, is my third choice. This horse has had a decent finish last time. Finished third, earned a little bit of money. Was 5th before that. Those were the 2 starts here at Lone Star Park. That 5th place finish, wasn't too bad. Led the race for a little ways down the track, or was close to leading the race for a little ways down the track, missing by a neck. But ended up 1 length behind the winner when it was all said and done. Win the Prize, my third pick here in the 8th.
Yeah, I like her as well. She's burned some money here in these last 2 starts, but I took him second. Annie Gets Her Gun came out 21-1. Victor Urrieta had the call. He's one of our leading riders, and he ran down Sea of a Heartbreak, who, like I said earlier, was opening up, flying early on, and somehow got himself beat. Or maybe this guy just ran super well, came right up the inside, and was up by a half length at the end. I'm going to choose to be positive on that because I picked Sea of a Heartbreak earlier, and I'm picking Annie Get Your Gun here. I don't know why he can't come back and win. Gerhard's has not only having a good meeting, the trainer, but he's good with the horses that won their last out, so he's good at keeping them sharp. So I'm taking Annie Gets Your Gun over Win the Prize, and Bush Hog Down Home comes off a race where he ran 7th but was only beaten a length with trouble and earned a pretty good E-speed figure. 9th and final. The High Five carryover is $19,978. Scratch number 1, El Compayaso out of this 9th. Maiden Colts and Geldings, 2 years of age, go 300.
Yeah, give me the 4 Cheyenne Temptation, a 1-to-1 morning line Rick Lee put on this horse. Last time out, ran second, missed by a neck. 3 starts back, ran second in that one, missing by a nose. Those were the only 2 races other than futurity trials that Cheyenne Temptation has been in. I think this maiden ranks is where he needs to be, and I think that this is going to be another winner for Toby Keaton tonight. Number 7, Ay Caramba. That's going to be my second choice. Horse has showed some speed in 3 races. Has broke out of the gate very well on top, basically, in those 3 races I'm talking about. Most recent one, horse did the same thing, got out of the gate very well, ended up getting caught at the end. Was well beaten when it was all said and done, but that was at 400 yards, moving back to 300 tonight. I think Ay Caramba is going to have a decent run. And then number 3, Do Right, 15-1 morning line is going to be my third choice here. Last time out, missed by a length. That was a 4th place finish, finished behind Cheyenne Temptation. But Wesley Giles, he's already had 8 wins out of 31 starts. Adrian Ramos, he's winning big races. He qualified a whole bunch for the Texas Classic. I think this is one to watch here. Some decent odds. Going to get some value on the 3, Do Right.
Yeah, I've got him second. I think it's really wide open behind the favorite. If the favorite is, misses the break or has some sort of an issue, then it gets wide open because I have no faith in Ay Caramba getting any distance. I think if they ran 68 yards, he'd be leading for 60 of it, and then, it'd be Katie bar the door after that. I don't mean to knock the horse. He doesn't know what I'm talking about him anyway, and it's no offense to the connections. But, Ay Caramba, the last 2 races, has just, been out there blistering and has gotten, very little part of it at the end. So I really think it's wide open if the favorite has trouble, but Cheyenne Temptation looks like, to me, even more so than our first race favorite, who is, they still have it 1-2, is probably the safest favorite of the night is Cheyenne Temptation here, but they still have to run the race. Do Right only finished about 3 parts of a length back of Cheyenne Temptation last time and finally got a good start. First 2 races had trouble or was off slow. My third pick is Icaramba just because I think he's liable to get a piece of it just as fast as he is and going 300 yards should really help him. And, it got hard for me to pick a 4th pick after El Con Payaso was scratched. But, Cosmos Reserve takes the blinkers off and has been at, 3 different racetracks and hasn't had a lot to show for it. You got Isa Palindrome on the outside for a hot barn, so there's a lot of contention. I even, Inseparable Prime, who was 12-1 in his debut back in October, fractious in the gate. He's with a good trainer. If they get over that fractiousness, who knows? He could be good down inside. So good way to wrap it up.
Yeah, especially for that super high 5.
Yeah.
Get some prices and maybe take that $20,000 jackpot we had.
Yeah,
19,978.
Yeah, 978 and change. So yeah. All right. Rodney will be down here with previews throughout the night. Nice night for the races. We'll be back Friday and Saturday as well at 6:05. Thanks a lot for looking in, and good luck tonight.